Yo estate, and welcome to what will be round 5 of our championship here at Apex Online Racing. Coming to you from the Hungaroring in, well, you guessed it, Hungary. After a nail-biting conclusion to last week's action in Belgium, quite a bit has changed in the standings, so let's take a look at the state of play going into tonight's race. Jan Fehler took the checkered flag to bag themselves 25 points to lead in the championship standings. Their closest rival, F1 Racer, dropped back to 5th in the closing stages of the race, making the gap between them 12 points. Maestro Hoffi was unable to score after incident, which means Lucas's 7th place finish closes that gap a little bit tighter to just 5 points. Matty's 6th place finish pushing them up to 6th, but leaping up the table are the Aston Martin team at Gelbevand racing wheel to wheel for first place in the final lap, eventually taking 2nd, and Crew 6, leading for the most of the race, took the final spot on the podium at Spa-Francorchamps. Galaxy drops 3 after an unfortunate crash out in the 5th lap of the race. Kev Genetics, despite taking home 2 points, drops 2 places to 9th, but just 2 points separate them from 6th place overall. Nico jumps 3 places after a consistent race saw them finish 4th. You may also notice the new blue stripe by their name, as they've now been signed full-time for Williams. And speaking of Williams, their now teammate Jean finished 10th to take home the first point of the season. Well, what does this mean for the constructors? So Williams are off the mark. Alfa Romeo have made no ground as Mercedes pull away into the distance. AlphaTauri and Red Bull's points haul has been dwarfed by the Aston Martin 2-3, pushing them all the way up to 3rd. Haas, unable to score last week, has seen them overtaken by Ferrari, who are just 3 points clear, but Fehler's race win has placed McLaren at the top of the standings by 11 points. But of course, that can all change tonight as we head into round 5 at Hungary. Our drivers might want to sacrifice speed for stability tonight, as it has its reputation of really testing the car's ability to stay on the track over the course of its 35 laps. If it's not the curbs, it's the hard 90-degree turns that will catch the unwary driver off guard. It has gained the reputation of Monaco without the walls. Very few overtaking opportunities here, so a good qualifying or tyre strategy is critical. And I can see our drivers are getting ready in the pits to get our race underway. Just making sure that everything is all set here. Some last minute preparation from our drivers. But looks like we have Carlos racing in the Haas tonight. They are taking the place of Maestro Hoffi. We also have a substitution in the form of, bear with me, Shanky, who is going to be, I'm just double checking this with our race director. But yes, quite the race tonight, and quite the big one for the championship overall. Have a look. Hope everything is coming through all clear as we approach the 8 o'clock start time. It is just me in the box tonight, by the way. Benny unfortunately couldn't make it due to illness, so send them your well wishes. Get well soon, Benny. Hopefully we'll see you back in the box next week. It looks like Shanky is in the Williams, in for Jean this week. And our drivers are getting ready to go here for, well, qualifying. 18 minutes on the clock around here. We don't quite know what to expect. All we know is that a good pole time is a 1:25.2. That's kind of where we're expecting the pole time to land tonight. Obviously, it entirely depends on our weather conditions, which we'll find out once we get out on track and our meteorology department gets back to us. And loading into the lobby now. So it's just myself tonight. Fizzy can't make it due to other commitments. Benny is unfortunately ill. Oh, I mean, oh my goodness, what a race last time. Belgium down to the wire. Last lap overtakes and wheel-to-wheel racing. Hoping we see the same here tonight. But Hungary has a bit of a reputation of being a bit of a track where the action happens more in the pit lane than it does out on track. And it looks like our drivers are almost ready. It is a clear qualifying and light cloud predicted for the race. So it looks like we're going to be going dry throughout the whole of it. Let's head on down to the track now. And you can see, there we are, our drivers putting on their first setups. Getting an idea of when the best time to come out of the pits is. It looks like we've got somebody on their way out already. I think that's an Alpine. Looks like an Alpine. It is Dominic. Dominic is our first out on track, being cheered on by the crowd. And it is quite the lap here. 15 corners over the course of... Okay, yep, I've got that. Thank you. Uh, 14 turns over 4.3 kilometers. And again, we're looking for that golden pole time of about a 1:25.2. As our first few drivers are starting to make their way out on track. Dominic about to start their first proper hot lap here. Let's ride on board with them and have a look what our drivers are facing tonight as they approach turn 1. It is hard down the start-finish straight. Holding on the left down 1 will give you a wide angle as possible through turn 1, avoiding the apex. DRS out of turn 1 into the back of Garrett. Let's just ride on board with Garrett and see what's going on there. I think they've recovered it. Just going to make sure that I didn't get Garrett and F1 Racer mixed up there. It did look like contact was made on our end. Has any damage been sustained? A lot of red showing up on our timing screen as well. Of interest, Garrett, the only driver out on the mediums right now. Everybody else opting for the softs. As I was saying, tyre strategy here. Tyre strategy here does play a big part in how the race pans out. Softs inarguably faster by a large margin, but do wear off incredibly quickly due to 5 180-degree turns. So you're struggling for grip towards the end of your soft stint there. Galaxy goes pole with the first valid lap, a 1:15.7. We may have been racing in the wet last time I took the pole time for this. That's my mistake. Apologies there. We do have a couple of laps coming in the high 1:14s. Lucas setting a 1:14, but unfortunately invalid. Kev Genetic goes pole with a 1:15.3. Let's see what we can get here. Our mate goes pole with a 1:15.307. Stay on board with Lucas because I believe... Oh, they're pulling in. F1 Racer, a 1:15.0. 1:14.8 looks like where the limits are going to be on this track. That's what we're pushing for here. I'm really interested to see how Garrett does on the mediums, in fact, as F1 Racer, as Carlos goes for a 1:15.6, putting them in 5th. Garrett coming into Sector 3 now. Setting a 27.8 through Sector 3. Through the hairpins here of 13 and 14. Oh, and Garrett pulling into the pits, deciding possibly the mediums aren't worth it. Coming across the line now is Nico. Setting a 1:19.6. Nico definitely knows there's more time out there. And as we've seen from their pace in the previous races, is perfectly capable of finding it. Busix invalidating their lap. Molkian has left the session, so I just need to quickly sort that. Hold tight. Nico setting a much faster time through Sector 1 there. Looks like they were just doing a warm-up lap to begin with. Coming through Sector 2. 3 seconds faster, but invalidating their lap. So this one is not going to go on the board, I'm afraid. Let's go to Krusix now, who is just set an invalid 1:14. We know the time is out there, it's just the track limits that are playing a huge part here. Parts of this track are very tight and very difficult to get the car around at high speeds. It's all about how you've got your downforce set up, all about how far you can push that braking zone. And with 10 minutes on the clock, following Krusix around on this lap, about to hit the Sector 2 line, 57.0. 29.1 through Sector 2, Sector 1, 28.0 through Sector 2. Respectable times, and I just have this habit of picking drivers that are about to pull in the pits. I really do. Let's go to Shanky now in the Williams, who is definitely on their hot lap. 100%. Guarantee it this time. Yellow flag being shown as a 53... Sorry, yes, 53. Through Sector 2. 26.9, 26.8 through Sectors 1 and 2. This is going to be a competitive time for them as they make their way around the final bend and across the line in 1:15.3, putting them P4. Let's see what Tisu can do as they come across the line in a 1:15.1, putting them P2. And we have still yet to see what Failer is capable of. Crossing the line in a 1:15.1. 1/10 of their championship rival. Persegili also putting in a good show, placing at 5th with 1:15.3. But of course, there's still a lot of time left on the clock. 7 minutes 41 is enough for 2 full runs if you get your skates on. Few people opting for the mediums to start, including Gelbevand, who is currently on their hot lap, coming into the hairpins of 13 and 14. Very tight line through there. It's looking good. Hopefully they didn't go too wide on that corner exit. It's a 1:16.0, which for the mediums isn't a bad time. You are dropping severe amounts of time. Throughout the track, and with everybody else setting times on the softs, excluding Kev Genetics, who's managed to creep into the top 10 with a 1:15.35. Persegili goes pole on a 1:14.8. But F1 Racer looks like they're waiting to respond, setting a 26.7 through Sector 1. Fastest Sector 1 so far in this session. Coming into the 90 degree of turn 12. Still ahead of 26.4 through Sector 2. This could be our new pole here. Final hairpin. And across the line in a 1:14.5. Times are tumbling now that the tyres... Now that the track is warmed up a little bit and the tyres are getting in, it looks like we've got some yellow flags showing in Sector 2. Doesn't look like anything too untoward. But F1 Racer going pole as we hit the closing stages of qualifying here. 5 minutes 30, just under 5 minutes 30 left on the clock. Matty unfortunately invalidating their lap. Let's take a look at Kev Genetics. I think they're coming in, realizing that the mediums aren't going to go the full... Oh, and they've spun out! And they're round on the final corner. I don't know if they wanted to go into the pits there and just lost the tail end. It looks like they did. I mean, either way, those tyres are going to be burning up, so they're probably going to want to change them ready for the final stint. Rivershan places P9, coming in for another attempt here. 1:12, 1:13, 1:15.1 places them P4. But there is 0.5 of a second, more than that, between first and fourth right now. So a lot of gap between F1 Racer and Persegili, in fact. Let's have a look at Jan Fehler, who is coming out on their hot lap. Tight line through 1, DRS open into 2. Going right to open it up as much as possible. And they've improved, but only by 0.07 of a second through Sector 1. But Sector 2 seems to be where the most time can be found. F1 Racer setting us 26.4 through here, so let's see how Fehler compares. Comes across the line at 26.5. So still slightly off pace off F1 Racer. Looks like they're going to be placing in the top 4 though, assuming they can keep this pace up. Opening up that final 180 bend as much as possible and across the line in a 1:14.8 puts them second by 0.3. F1 Racer really has got the upper hand here. Just under 3 minutes left of the session, and as it stands, F1 Racer 0.3 clear of the rest of the pack. Nico may have an answer though, as they're coming through. Oh no, they have already set their lap. Let's go to Dominic. Or in fact, it looks like the Alfa Romeos are giving each other a slipstream through here. Persegili .6.8 through Sector 1 across the... Coming across the Sector 2 line is going to be where it's telling, because that's where most of F1 Racer's time was made up. And keeping it very clean into 12. 26.5. Certainly an improvement, but is it going to be enough? As they come around the final 2 corners into 14 and cutting it as wide as possible, goes a 1:14.7. Jumps Fehler's time, but still 0.2 behind F1 Racer, who, by the way, is on their outlap and going at it again. Closing stages of the race now, of qualifying now. Less than a minute on the clock, so this is going to be final times coming through here for people. Who have we got coming across? We've got Lucas going pole with a 1:14.4. 6. Yeah, sorry. 0.06 clear of F1 Racer. And Lucas deciding that's where the session ends. Krusik bowing out in 11th at the moment. That's going to tumble as F1 Racer comes through for their hot lap. This is going to be telling 4 seconds on the clock. So these final times are going to be for our mate just crossing the line as the checkered flag starts waving. So Fehler and Nico's times are locked in. Looks like our mate got in just before. I'm going to stick with F1 Racer, see if they can improve here. 26.7, 26.3 more in Sector 2. And it is enough! Going clear by over 1/10. F1 Racer is in pole. I believe Lucas is taking a slow lap out. Our mate has invalidated, so that's it. Persegili is in the pit, so they're going to be ending their session there. Galaxy looks like they're taking a slow lap into the pits. Failer has finished. Tisu also taking a slow closing lap. So let's see if Carlos has invalidated, and finally Gelbervan in a 1:15.3 puts them P14. And I think that's our final grid, everybody. Just waiting for everybody to get across the line. Can I have a look? Okay. But yes, so it looks like our grid is as follows. F1 Racer in pole. Lucas in second. Our mate in third. Persegili fourth. Galaxy fifth. Failer sixth. Tisu in seventh. Rivershan eighth. Shanky ninth. Nico in 10th. So the Williams making up the back of our top 10 there. Then it's Malkin in 11th. Matty in 12th. Krusix 13th. Gelbervan 14th. Kev Genetics in 15th. Dominic 16th, Garrett 17th, Carlos 18th, Creepy Drive in 19th, and Sky Kartoffel rounding up the back of our grid there. Apologies, I just couldn't do. This didn't boot up. Why didn't this boot up? Okay. So there is the official result. F1 Racer placing top. And I'm just going to make sure we're having some people having issues. Going to make sure that everybody's in the session. And Lucas getting some support from chat there, from the audience. I mean, we've seen what they're capable of at Abu Dhabi. An amazing drive there. Are they able to repeat the feat tonight as our drivers get ready and underway? As we said from our weather center, it looks like it's going to be light cloud for the race to begin with. Who knows what will happen in the interim. But 35 laps here at the Hungaroring, and as you can see, some of those corners are quite tough to get the car round. Okay, message from Malkian. Okay, so they're going to be AI controlled to begin with. Good to know. Okay. I'm just going to make sure that Matty is in. As we get ready to go green here. To make sure that everything is fine. Whilst the safety car gets underway. will check. Okay. Looks like Matty's back in the race, so that's all sorted. We do like to see all our drivers driving. And sometimes connectivity issues happen. We're well aware of that. Especially after what happened last season. Make sure that everything is set up, ready to go. Okay. That'll do. Apologies for the delay. It is... it's juggling many plates here at broadcast control. But it looks like all of our racers are going to be lining up on the start line. There's the predicted pit stop strategies. Soft for 7 laps, followed by hards, or soft, medium, medium. Looking at our drivers, most of them going for, I mean, the top 10 being forced on the softs to begin with. Molkian, their AI opting for the softs, and everyone at the back opting for the mediums. So they're going to have them more durability going into this. The softs do wear down pretty quickly here. As we go green, and we are away here at the Hungarian GP, and already coming into turn 1, it's 3 wide. 3 wide. Thaler, Armate and Galaxy all jockeying for position, and Thaler trying to make the pass round the outside for 5th on Tisu, manages to get past as well, sneaks it past Galaxy. Galaxy is down 7th. We've got one of the drivers going wide on the track. But at the moment, it looks like... Oh! It's a yellow flag already. As Galaxy... looks like they completely lost it there. All traction went. The tyres look fine. Sorry, the wing looks intact. The tyres, though, are going to be screaming. So back to single file as we make our way into Sector 3 for the first time this race. And Kev Genetics making the pass on Molkian's AI whilst they get their issues sorted. Lucas looking for a nose in. Yes, Molkian, you are currently on softs. Everyone else is on... Well, everyone else who started at the back of the grid was on mediums. And Galaxy has pulled into the pit, so it looks like there has been some damage there. And opting for the mediums. So Tisu gaining some time here on Thaler as they make their way into 12. This time round, DRS is going to be active. We're not actually going to see it because the detection point is right at the end of the lap. Going a bit wide through 14 there as F1 racer Armate sets the fastest lap of the race. Nico quickly snapping that from them, and that just shows how much the difference in pace is. DRS is enabled, but it won't be live this time round. As you can see on our map in the bottom right corner, that green detection point is right at the end of the lap and works for both DRS zones. Nico looking to get an eye in on Tisu. We'll see how this develops. Further back, Crew 6 making time on Rivershan. As we can see from the start of the race, quite a jumble from where we started. Oh! I believe that's no, it isn't. It's Gelbavand. Gelbavand is round on turn 13. And they are back down to 19th. So here we go. DRS was active for this first time round. Lucas currently P2, followed by Persegili in the Alfa Romeo. Then it's Armate in 4th. Failer gaining though in 5th. It is a full DRS train all the way back to Shanky in 10th. The story for a lot of our drivers seems to be very fast through Sector 1, very competitive through Sector 1, but Sector 2 is where it's really telling. As we go into DRS for the second time this race. Lucas not able to make the pass this time round, but Failer goes up to 4th, making the pass on Armate. Armate not able to gain it back. We have a yellow flag as Dominic has retired from the session. And safety car is out. So as it stands, F1 racer Galaxy deciding to pull into the pits. F1 racer out in front, Lucas in second, Failer jumping up to 4th over the course of those first 5 laps. And this safety car might need Galaxy the saving, give Galaxy the saving grace they need. As F1 racer dives into the pits, Lucas decides to stay out. Shanky also diving into the pits, Gelbavand taking the opportunity as well. So Lucas currently leading the pack on 5-lap-old softs. And just looking at our weather center here, 5 minutes until the weather becomes overcast. Don't know what that says about later in the race. Light rain predicted in 15 minutes. Light rain will be happening here. As to the severity of it, as to whether it's going to affect our racers' tyre strategies, we don't know yet. But given they've also got access to that weather data, some of our drivers will be in the know. And we'll realise that we've got about 10 minutes before light rain starts hitting the circuit. 15 before it possibly affects the race. I believe the safety car is still out, which is going to give Galaxy the opportunity to catch up. They've decided to go for softs, perhaps knowing full well that rain is coming. They're not that far behind the pack now. Another full lap under safety car. Can't see it staying out another lap after this one unless some of our drivers decide to dive into the pits. We do have rain on the way. So Lucas out in front. Persegili in second, Failer in third, Armate in fourth, Tisu in fifth. Could be the first time we see someone scoring points in an Alpine this season. I don't really see what's happened at the back here. Shanky has pulled back into 19. Getting an idea of what's going on there. A little bit later on. Safety car coming in this lap. The drivers warming up their tyres. Lucas holding the starting pistol. Backing everybody up. Getting those tyres as warm as possible. And of course, over the course of this, our drivers have been regenerating their ERS as well. Galaxy has probably had to... Well, actually, no. Given that it was 2 laps, probably didn't have to spend any of it. As we go green, and Lucas sets us off for lap 8 here at Hungary. But Persegili is right up beside them. DRS isn't even active, and Persegili is looking to get a nose in. Krusix making the pass on Rivershan. F1 Racer on the softs, making their way up to 13th and gaining the better traction here, really playing a part on the softs. Brand new fresh tyres versus old mediums. Up towards the front, Krusix is gaining on Nico. Maybe this is showing how much wear those softs do take over the course of a lap. Just 7 laps in, plus qualifying, obviously. So 8 or 9 laps in, and those tyres are starting to wear away. Mediums starting to show through as the better tyre here. Krusix getting a little bit of a shake of the head. From stewards there. And Molkian has joined us back in the race. Galaxy up to 15th. as we see a yellow flag, and that's Nico is round. Nico is round. And all the way down to 19th. And that's a front wing gone as well. That's going to be a trip to the pits. That is devastation for Nico. Who is doing so well there. But, of course, there are still 25 laps left of this race, including a wet portion coming up, by the look of it. Weather Centre still saying light rain in the next 5 minutes or so. Now, timing screen getting incredibly confused as DRS gets enabled. Tisu is, I believe, going down the order. They seem to have had some issues. Their wing has gone as well. That's going to be huge, considering we're going to be, a lot of our drivers are going to be pitting fairly soon. And those softs are really starting to show their age. F1 Racer nose to tail with Rivershan up in front, who themselves... Oh, and is that Carlos? Carlos is round as well, and almost clips Tisu whilst coming onto the track. Molkian and Nico, opting for the inters, so it looks like it is wet enough out there now. And a lot of our drivers probably going to be wondering, is this the lap we come in? Lucas pulls the trigger, Fela pulls the trigger, Persegili goes in, Armate, Krusix, Matty all coming into the pits. I think everybody's making the call here that it's wet enough. A little bit of a love tap in the pits there. Tisu opting to stay out on the softs. And goes pole. Let's see how they fare for another lap. Those back tyres are really kicking and screaming out there. As our drivers start to come out the pits. Lucas still leading by a margin, it must be said. It's going to be interesting to see how Tisu deals with this, because Lucas is just behind them. It looks like the grip isn't there. Lucas having to take evasive action there. And they're battling through the corners, and it's incredibly close. And Tisu coming off worst there. Drops down to third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And the soft's just not holding. Just not holding at all. An unfortunate strategy call there. As Tisu pulls into the pits. So up front, Lucas is leading the way. But let's have a look at Krusix, who is right on the back of Galaxy. And in fact, they're almost nose to tail going through turn one. In fact, they are. So turn two is going to be very telling here. DRS is disabled. It is that wet out there. Krusix just keeping tight with them for now. Looking for an opening. And it's the thing with this track, and every track in fact, it's not just the pace, it's the positioning that gets you the places. F1 Racer making gains on Persegili as well. Just 2 tenths separating them. As they come into our 2 180-degree turns. And Rivershan gets a 3-second penalty for their troubles. Galbavan manages to overtake on the inside here. Moving up to 14th. Last week's 2nd place finisher. F1 Racer closing that gap to just 4 tenths. Persegili, however, is still, you know, staying fairly tight to the back of our mate. But Lucas out in front, and I believe, yes, pulling away. As Rivershan comes into the pits. Lucas 4 tenths faster that lap. So is making ground between the two of them. Crew 6 here. Tight on the tail of Galaxy. We have had Molkian leave the session. I'm going to very quickly fling them an invite. Bear with. There we go. Nico getting a 3-second penalty for their troubles. On top of a 5-second penalty that they've all, for corner cutting. Very interesting that the game decided to do 2 penalties in 1 corner there. That will probably come up in... Well, it might not actually. Because the inters might not last the whole way. So, leading the pack is Lucas. Failer is gaining a little bit of time. Nico's getting a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And it's a safety car! What on earth has happened? I think Nico retiring from the race there has caused a safety car. And a lot of penalties coming through for speeding under safety car as well. I do believe there is going to be a lot of talk in the stewards' office after this race. So Lucas, that lead that they had of 1.6 seconds is going to disappear due to this safety car. As our drivers concertina in. Everybody pretty much on the same tyres. Rivershan obviously taking new ones when they can. Could potentially see them to the end of the race at this point. 20 laps. Is doable on the inters. It's okay. Molkian has said that they're not going to be joining again, so they're going to be marked out of the race. So the gaps are going to be a lot tighter when we go green. Carlos has been given a drive-through penalty, which unfortunately I believe they're going to have to serve. No way around it. Or not. Oh wait, no, it can't be served on a safety car. That's fair. There's a bit of a fracas in the driver's lounge. And we'll see what comes of that when things do go to the stewards during the week. As it stands though, Lucas out in front, Failer in second, then it's our mate in third, Persegili in fourth, F1 Racer, Failer's championship rival, in fifth, then it's Matty in sixth, Galaxy 7th, Crew 6 8th, Garrett 9th, Kev Genetics 10th. Vivashan probably hoping that this safety car stays out that little bit longer. We'll find out as it comes across the line. And I think we're going to have another lap under safety car. And indeed we do, which is a saving grace for Vivashan, who's going to be allowed to catch that time up fairly quickly. And of course, they're going to be on 3 or 4 or even 5 lap fresher times at this point. They may be able to make some gains on the line. So coming into the halfway point of the race here. I'm just going to check my notes and just see how long intermediates tend to last around here. 19 laps is what our engineers recommend. Whether or not that's as far as you can push them is yet to be seen. So with 19 laps to go, Vivashan can push to the end here. You can see there's a little bit of standing water on the track there. And in fact, our weather centre is saying that there's going to be a storm imminent. We might even see our drivers go to full wets here as the safety car's coming in. Case of whether our drivers think they can endure the grip or lack thereof of the intermediates, or if they can go, if they think they can, the safer option is better. I mean, looking at the data from our weather centre, it's going to be storming for at least 10 minutes. So pitting for wets may be a smarter play. As we go green, and Lucas leads by 7/10. Persegili in 4th. Wheel to wheel with our mate round the outside of turn 1. Our mate managing to hold on to it, but backing them up into F1 Racer. It is tight out there. And with how wet it is as well. Gelderland is having some trouble with Molkian's AI driver. Snacky gets past. Creepy Drive up to 12th. Our mate gets themselves a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Baylor now a full second back from Lucas, who is just storming ahead, if you'd pardon the pun. As the rain gets harder out there, Snacky is around and has gone all the way to P18. And Molkian is back in. Lucas pulls into the pits, probably thinking that wets are the better option here. Galaxy doing the same. So Failer currently leading the race, but it may not be for long. See what happens here. Yes, full wets on for Lucas for Galaxy. Shanky gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, as there's another yellow flag as they retire from the race. So Failer currently leading. Our timing screen has decided to honk out once again, but it looks like a lot of our drivers are going to be coming in for wets, because the grip just isn't there with the inters. And the wet's going to last a lot longer as well. They're going to see us till the end of the race here, assuming the weather stays the same. So, Lucas, in fact, currently is our net race leader by the look of it. I'm just looking at the times. It's going to be close between Failer and Lucas. Failer deciding to stay out, saying that the Inters have enough grip. But with full storm conditions, for the next 10 minutes at least, how long is it going to last? Lucas managing to make the pass on Carlos's... Oh, sorry, no, Carlos is in the pit. Other drivers making the change now as well. So Failer trying to see if they can squeeze as much time as possible now. And you can see there the gap between Lucas and Failer, just 16 seconds. That is most definitely not a pit stop. Failer probably a net 5 seconds behind at the end of this next pit stop, assuming they do pit. If they think they can keep the grip here with the Inters, I mean, I highly doubt it looking at the racing line and the standing water, but it's a risk they may be willing to take. Staying out for another one. As F1 Racer decides to pull in. Creepy Drive also deciding that the wets are the better option here. With 15 laps to go, Failer is leading, our mate behind, then it's Persegili slightly further back by about 7/10. So it is all about the strategy now. As we can see, Tisu trying to make a pass on Sky Kartoffel. Sky Kartoffel is round. That's pushed them down to 13th. And now Tisu has got Lucas on the fresh wets right behind them. It's going to be a little bit of a battle here between the two of them. Baylor coming around to the pit entry again. Again deciding to stay out. Again deciding that the wets aren't worth the risk. Tisu giving Lucas a little nudge on the way through 13 there. But Lucas makes the pass. And it does look like Lucas has made the right call here in coming in for the wets earlier, as the gap to Failer is now just 11 seconds. Garrett gaining a 3-second time penalty. Tisu here being gained on by Galaxy, who is just a second behind. At 4 seconds the difference in time, by the way. Lucas is gaining 2 seconds on Failure per lap. Galaxy 4 seconds faster than Tisu. Failure has a 3-second lead over the rest of the grid. Again, not taking the option to pit, thinks that they can hang on to it for... it's a lot of laps, to be fair, as Tisu drops further back. Those inters really not holding. Deciding to stay out. Getting really close on the edge there. And in fact... Dingsley Aston Martin going round 14 and doesn't have the grip. There's just no grip on the inters. Tisu now down to 8th and still probably needs to pit. All that has meant that Lucas is now 8 seconds clear of Galaxy and 5 seconds behind Failure. In fact, gaining 5 seconds on Failure on that lap alone. Is Failure going to be stubborn and see the inters through to the end? It's possible, it's doable, but in these conditions, you need to really be on your game. It's going to come down to the age-old battle of track position versus pace as Lucas makes the pass on the outside around Persegili. And the gap now just 3.3 seconds to Failure. To Failure. And closing rapidly. Failure can now see them in the rear-view mirror. Persegili's probably realising that the inters are not the best option here. But at what cost? 12 laps to go here at the Hungaroring. And just look at that. Lucas, in just the first few corners. Coming into turn 3, the gap is down to a second as Tisu is round once again. Oh, no, sorry, they're being overtaken. There is a ghost car out there. That's Malkian, who unfortunately their AI is still racing at the moment. We're going to keep an eye on Tisu here as Garrett tries to make the pass on them. Up towards the front though, Lucas is gaining on Failer and just can't seem to get the position. Let's have a look. As they're coming into 13, Failer with the inside line, but Lucas just easily taking it around the outside with the amount of grip that they have. And Tisu moves down to 15th on the Inters. And I think it's safe to say they're clearly the inferior tyre at this point. But with 11 laps to go, can you afford to pit at this point? Tisu opting to come into the pits. Looks like the rain's going to be staving off in the next 10 minutes or so. So towards the end of the race, the gap to Failer just keeps increasing. Lucas now 3.1 seconds ahead. A full 6/10 in that sector alone. As Persegili and F1 Racer are side by side. But the wets winning out once again. In fact, F1 Racer making the pass on Gelbervan whilst we weren't looking as well. So it looks like Lucas made the better strategy play here. Failer is paying the price as Galaxy is bearing down on them now. Again, fresher tyres, better suited for the conditions. It's going to be a very easy pass, and we've seen Lucas do it around the outside. Galaxy goes for it round the outside here. And makes the pass, as does Matty, which means Failer drops to 4th. And it looks like... Oh, F1 Racer going round the outside of Failer as well. Gelbervan also getting a look in. And our title champion, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 2, it looks like it's Rivershan who has gone round. With Carlos approaching. That's going to push them down a position. Up towards the front, though. Battle is between Galaxy and Matty. As Crew 6 is actually closing in on Persegili. Again, those Inters just not having the grip. The wets are good enough to go around the outside. Our mate making the approach on Persegili now. With 9 laps to go, our mate making the pass around the outside. Up towards the front, Galaxy and Matty are battling it out for P2. Rivershan has retired from the race. Looks like they've pulled into the pits. So we're going to hopefully clear that up. There we go. As Creepy Drive makes the pass on Malkian, who... Oh, hold on. Yep, okay. Okay, so we've got the Aston Martins together once again as Crew 6 makes the pass on Failer. And look, our mate is going around the outside as well. Gelbovand and Crew 6. Oh! Oh, and it's round on the home stretch for Crew 6. He takes a little bit too much of the wet curb. And it's heartbreak. With just 8 laps to go. A severe drop. Matty and F1 Racer battling it out for third. Matty coming off the victor for the moment. It's going to be a tight one between these two. Keep with them throughout. Looks like Matty is just that little bit faster, as I believe that's Crew 6 again around. The tyres just not gripping for them. 7-lap-old wets. As Gelbovan gets dinged for their troubles. And again, in a race where stability is probably more important than speed, the fact that we've got standing water on track is really making this a tough challenge for our drivers. Blue flag being shown. What I believe is Tisu. Who is still fighting it. So up in front by a large margin now, we have Lucas. Who seems to be controlling this thing like a dream in the wet. Crew 6 has retired from the session. They won't be finishing. Let's go to Creepy Drive, who is making some time on Persegili. Where is Persegili? Right there. Thank you, cameraman. As Persegili keeps dropping down the order and gets 3 seconds of time penalties for their troubles. We do have a yellow flag following Aston Martin friend Gelbovan. No, sorry, that's Crew 6. Safety car is out. This is going to compress the field. So Lucas's 8-second lead is going to disappear here. And this may be what is needed for Failer and Persegili to catch up in this race. Gonna be tight. Failer is almost out of the points. In fact, their teammate is just a second behind them. Obviously, that will compress once we get down to the safety car. Safety car looks like it's going to be catching our leader on lap 31. So as it stands, Lucas leads, followed by Galaxy and Matty in P2 and 3. F1 Racer in 4th. Gelbovand in 5th with some penalties to spend. But those penalties are going to be hurtful. They are going to do a lot of damage with this very late safety car in the race. It looks like Crew 6 went off the track? Have a look. Quickly want to see what's happening. Nope. No incident. So it does look like it's a retirement here. Tisu right at the back of the grid, a full lap down. Still staying stubborn. Still out on the inters. But it seems to have cost our drivers. The rain now staving off. Persegili opting for the inters. Fresh inters, in fact. Baylor, although these tyres are going to be better suited to these light rain conditions, the standing water on track that's still there, and in fact, the fact that they are older tyres, they are scrubbed, is going to cause considerable harm to their performance. So it's going to be interesting to see if Failer can gain time here. Is it going to be enough over the course of what is probably going to be 3 laps? Probably not. But I think it's damage limitation time for Failer here. Safety car's going to be going round one more time, which means we're going to be going green on lap 33. Probably. Which means lap 35. We aren't going to get DRS. We aren't going to get DRS for the rest of the race now. I mean, it's raining anyway. But even if the rain clears up, DRS is deactivated for the rest of the race at this point. So, as it stands, taking into account time penalties here, Lucas will take the win, followed by Galaxy in second, Matty in third, F1 Racer in fourth. Then it's going to be tight between Kev Genetics and Gelbavand and Armate with those penalties. Jared's going to drop a few places, meaning Failer is coming into the fray as well. We have Creepy Drive with 3 seconds to serve, but they are, in effect, Persegili and Carlos are the next ones behind them. They're a fair margin back. That's obviously going to close. They have also got penalties to serve as well. Malkian, unfortunately for the purposes of this race, is going to be marked as DNF. So in actual fact, 14 runners still live, as it looks like we're going around again with the safety car. Lucas probably not expecting that. I certainly wasn't. As the back of our pack is starting to make their way past Carlos. Passing Persegili for some reason. Looks like Persegili had a little spin out there. So, 2 laps without safety car. 2 laps to determine the closing position of this race. Lucas, obviously with the advantage, but safe to say that advantage that they had of over 8 seconds has drifted away. Our mate looking a reasonable contender with 4 lap younger tyres. Or could Failer even try and make a last minute charge on the Inters? From the box, we don't know what the conditions are like out there on track. All we have is what we've got in front of us. Does look like grip is still fairly stable on the softs. But on the wets, Sky Kartoffel is off. And Persegili gets a penalty in the meantime as they pull into the pit lane. Difficult to say what happened to Sky Kartoffel there as we go green. And there is a bit of a battle for 7th and 8th between Kev Genetics and Garrett. Kev Genetics coming out on top, making the squeeze on Garrett there. Coming into turn 4. Very steady turn 4 before very long and wide turn 5. Matty making gains on Galaxy here. Looking to take 2nd place in the race. F1 Racer behind them. Kev Genetics closing in on our mate. But in fact, loses the position to Garrett for their troubles. It's 3 ways as Garrett goes wide to cede the position to Kev, who is now on the tail of our mate as we reach the penultimate stage of our race. Final lap coming up. Baylor in 9th as Persegili looks like Persegili is round towards the back of the grid. Oh! Kev Genetics got the inside into turn 1, but our mate has got the better grip around the outside, but doesn't stick it. Kev Genetics up to 6th. And that's put them in the clutches of Garrett and Failer, who is right behind. Tisu has bowed out of the race as well. So it's very close up here as Failer makes the pass on Garrett. It looks like those inters are paying off. And Creepy Drive moves down to 11th from Carlos, but they'll probably get that time back. Looks like there was a little bit of a swing from them. Failer now gaining on our mate, looking to take 7th. And maybe this strategy pays off as Matty makes the pass on Galaxy. That's not Matty. There we go. And they're across the line. Galaxy takes 3rd. F1 Racer 4th. Galbavan 5th. Baylor takes 7th place. With our mate in 8th. Garrett in 9th. Carlos in 10th. Malkian will not finish in 10th. That's a DNF. And that's the race. So, Lucas atop the podium once again. Matty taking second, Galaxy taking third in the closing stages of the race there. And I think that's our results. I mean, all that's left is for Persegili to cross the line. And there we have it. Lucas takes home the title. Matty gets driver of the day. And there we see Lucas atop the podium. Brazilian flag behind them. Matty and Galaxy there celebrating their podiums as well. So there are your final results. F1 Racer bagging that bonus point for fastest lap of the race. The only sub 119 up there. And I'm going to very quickly go to your race director because somebody has already advanced it. Because I have a feeling going to be an interesting chat in the steward's room later. There we go. So, final result of the race there. Is that Lucas takes another race victory. Oh. And we do have some problems. Oh. Oh. Apologies for this. I am having some technical difficulties here. It looks like we've got a couple of drivers ready and waiting for interview. So while I sort this out, let's get to our interviews here. Don't have Gelbevand in the... in fact... I'm going to bring in our third place finisher there in the form of Galaxy. Galaxy, what a race out there today. What can I say? Absolutely astonishing finishing for you. Third place. I believe it was down to the wire between the two of you towards the line. Talk us through what it was like out there, because I don't think many people were expecting full storm conditions tonight.
I didn't expect anything from this race after I crashed in turn 1, or lap 1, and dropped down to last with 30 seconds base to the second last guy. And as the rain came, I just thought, well, I have nothing to lose. I never practiced a single second for this race in the wet. And yeah, just completely went my way, luckily.
Well, I mean, what a race there, and an interesting battle of strategies between our front runners and Failer. Talk us kind of through that transition from inters to wet, because I feel like there were certainly a lot of last-minute decisions going on in people's heads.
Yeah, I think I was in Sector 2 as I recognized the rain is getting heavier, and I thought about changing to wets, but I wasn't sure about that, and as Jeff came up with an alternative strategy, I thought, well, P8, I guess there's not much to lose back there, and let's try it. And yeah, then just before the last corner I decided to pit and try to risk.
And the risk paid off by the look of it. I believe that's is that your second podium of the season?
First
podium of the season.
First ever in first spot.
Wow. Well, what a race to do it in. Hungary definitely has its reputation, I can say, for being Monaco without walls, I believe, what we were saying at the start of the stream. What was it like racing out there in the wet? Was the grip really kind of challenging, or was it, it's Sunday driving? What kind of forces were you having to deal with out there?
It's difficult to say. Of course, you have much less grip, but after a few laps, you get into it and you get into the rhythm. So it isn't that challenging. Of course, you need to keep an eye on the throttle and everything. Grip, tire wear wasn't really a factor with the wets, and yeah, as I got into the rhythm, easy isn't the right word, but I think it's still the best word to describe it.
Well, we're off for a week next week, and then we're back at Saudi Arabia the week after. Brand new track, never been raced at before here at AOR. How are you feeling about it?
I really look forward racing on this track because some private training sessions, I would say, I had really good pace, and maybe there's another podium in there.
Well, fingers crossed for you. Fantastic racing out there. Good job on your first podium, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Galaxy, our third place finisher, everybody. Let's bring in our race. Let's bring in our title contender here, Jan Fehler, who was the other side of that call. Fehler, what can I say? An interesting strategy call there to stay out on the inters. What was going through your head when everybody else was pulling in for wets?
I thought it was a bold decision from Lucas in the lead, because I think in general you can be fine on inters when the track's a bit wetter, and before the race when you looked at the forecast, it said that it would be a passage of heavy rain, but then it would get light in the end as well. So I thought maybe I can just stretch out the inters for that period and save those 40 seconds that you would have to spend in the pits when pitting on wets and then back to inters. Yeah, but when I saw how quickly Lucas called me, unfortunately it was already too late for me to pit anyway, because I would have lost a lot of track position to everyone who was pitting for wets. So it didn't really make a difference in the end result as well, I think. And yeah, I knew it was too late and just hoped to hang on, but yeah, didn't work out.
Well, in the closing stages of the race there, we saw the rain start to come away. What was kind of going through your head there? Was it kind of, okay, this is my time to shine, this is my time to make positions back, or was it all about damage limitation?
I thought I could make all those positions back, but I think even in the final lap the inters weren't actually quicker than the wets. I think they were maybe sort of similar, because the guys ahead of me were battling obviously very hard, and I can't remember who it was, but the one who was leading that mini train, so to say, was also pulling away from the others. So I'm not convinced that the Inters were actually quicker, and that was why I made the moves, but rather they were battling, and then I just picked the better racing line to get past and that stuff. So yeah, I would have needed it to be dry right when the safety car came in. Well, not dry, but you know, light rain conditions on track when the safety car came in. Maybe then I would have been able to get a podium back at least, but yeah.
Well, speaking of safety cars, quite a few of them this race. I mean, Hungary is always one of those tracks where, similar to Monaco in fact, it can be difficult to keep the car on track, and as we've seen tonight with the rain, that's especially difficult. What kind of, when the safety cars started coming in, what kind of was your strategy going into that?
Which safety car?
Good point. So we had a safety car fairly shortly after the changeover to wets.
Yes.
What was kind of your thinking on staying out on Inters at that point?
Well, had I pitted for wets, I would have been basically last at that point. Had it then started to dry up again, or just get light rain, obviously again I could have tried to stay out, but I think that way around is even worse than staying on Inters on a wet track. So that was not an option for me. And would I have pitted like everybody else, then let's say, you know, back on Inters, then you know, I would still have gained nothing. So pitting just would have lost me track position, and there was no scenario that would gain me anything. So I just stayed out again and hope that, you know, going slow under safety car conditions helps the time to move forward quick, and then maybe the rain, maybe have more laps in the end with light rain conditions. So, you know, I think staying out was the logic decision at that point.
Okay. Well, I mean, you still got points during this race. You got a reasonable finishing position. I believe you ended up finishing in 7th when all was said and done.
Yep.
But we've got Saudi Arabia in 2 weeks. Got a week off to brush yourself off, refocus, and then we're going to Jeddah. How are you feeling about that?
I don't mind the week off. I could be racing next week as well, and you know, I don't particularly need breaks, so to say. But you know, since there's a real life Formula 1 race going on, then, and you know, the F2, and I don't know if F3 is racing as well, so that's going to be a weekend packed of motor racing already. So yeah, I guess it's then fine that I don't need to prepare a league race as well next to that. And then Jeddah, I don't like Jeddah. But I mean, I can say that about at least 60-70% about the calendar. So it's the same for everyone else, right? So, you know, we'll get on with it. It's fine. I'm sure there's going to be some safety cars again. So, yeah, we'll come down to who's in the right position at the right time, as always. And then I hope to, you know, get back on the podium at least.
Well, have a great week's break, and we'll see you again in Saudi Arabia.
Thank you. See you next time then.
See you. Jan Fehler there, our current drivers champion, who actually, let's have a look and see. We'll see what that race has done to the standings at the end of our interview section here. But let's get our winner of that race in, Lucas, who I know some of you in the chat are going to be cheering for. Lucas, what can I say? What a race. A very interesting strategic moment between you and Fehler towards kind of a third of the way through the race there, where you made the call to go on to wets. How was it for you out there? What kind of prompted you to make that last minute snap decision?
For the start, I come to the quali. I don't expect to be P2 behind the F1 racer. and my strategy is going to bingo, but I see the rain is coming very early, so I try to make the soft, and let's make the best strategy, because I don't really like it, this strategy, because I never used this tire on the race situation. But when the lights go out, I was behind the F1 racer, trying to fight on the first lap, but I tried to save my tires because I don't know which lap will be the rain. After I think is 5 lap, yes, me is 5 lap of the racing safety car. After that, I think F1 racer goes onto the pit and change the tires. I decided to stay out because I think of the rain. After the restart is confirmed, it's going to make the rain. After that, I make my pit, trying to make the best gap possible, because made a mistake or something on the rain. After is a safety car, I decided to stay out, thinking of the tire will be until the end. After the restart, the rain comes very strong, like the Inter is going to drop out very early. I decided with my race engineer to make the pit stop full wet. After that, my race pace is unbelievable compared to Inter's. I don't expect like this race pace where the track I never trained race like full wet. It's another level, I think, for me. It's one of the best races of my life. And
Well,
of the greatest.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's your second win here at AOR this season, and we are kind of a third of the way through the season as a whole. What's kind of your aim going into the season? Where do you see yourself placing in the standings at the end of it?
Well, on the start of this league, I think it's going to be top 5. But after this race, after 2 wins, don't expect. I think my aim is going to P3, or maybe very hard, but it's possible the title. It's very hard because, like Saudi Arabia, the next track, I don't know really well this track. But my aiming, the minimal is being P3.
So P3 is kind of where we're aiming for this season. Okay. Well, we've got Saudi Arabia in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully we'll see you there. How are you feeling about that track? It's a new track for pretty much all of our drivers. We haven't raced it in the league before.
Will be very interesting.
Yeah.
I can say very interesting because I never raced it. I think is a little bit of the drivers race it, like 1-2 drivers. It will be very interesting, like the strategy, how the safety cars will be very interesting.
Well, we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, we're off next week for a bit of a break for the actual real-life F1 racing. But Lucas, congratulations on your second win. Very, very kind of, especially during the pit stop phase, edge of the seat stuff. And we hope to see you again soon.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Lucas there, everybody. I'm just going to quickly deal with something, and then we will have our provisional standings for the end of the race. Please hold tight for like a minute while I try and clarify something with somebody in one of the interview rooms, and I'll be right back. Okay, right, so I think we've got the standings sorted. I'm just having a look and making sure that everything has been fixed. So, let's take a look at what that has done to our final standings. So, we can see Failer leading the league, but by a much smaller margin than before the race. Just 5 points separating them from F1 Racer. Lucas's second win of the season pushes them up to third. And then we have Matty, who, in the closing stages of the race there, managed to claim their first podium of the season off of Galaxy. Maestro Hoffy not racing this time round, so stays on 49. Galaxy, however, catches up to them with their first podium of the season as well. Gelbovand placing 6th on the track, pushes them down a place to 7th. Pev Genetics taking home 10 points in the Mercedes, tying them with Gelbovand in the league. Gelbovand only leaning on count back there. Then we have Crew 6, who unfortunately didn't finish. Nico, who unfortunately didn't finish. Persegili, who was towards the back of the grid at the end of the race. And finally, a brand new driver. Apologies. Garrett gains 2 points, bringing him up to 3. And a brand new driver in the form of Carlos in their first race took 10th and takes a single point. That's how the drivers' standings are looking. Let's see what that's done for the constructors. McLaren leading still, but just by 2 points now over Ferrari. Then Haas just 3 points further back. Red Bull and AlphaTauri making big gains tonight due to Matty and Galaxy and Armate all putting in points finishes. Aston Martin's Gelbovand not enough to overcome that. Mercedes on 41, Alfa Romeo on 15, and Williams stay on 13. Alpine still yet to score. So, what a race. Lucas, I love you coming from the audience there. No doubt, we're not going to hear the end of this yet. We've got 2 weeks before the next race, so hopefully we can clear up any of the incidents that happened before then. So, just to remind you, no race next week. The week after, we will be going through daylight savings time, so those of you who are in the US who've just had daylight savings time, we are going to be an hour later than tonight. Tonight we were an hour earlier. 2 weeks' time we'll be back to where we were in relation to you. But that's pretty much all from us here at Apex Online Racing. Thank you to our drivers for enduring what would have been an absolutely abhorrent track to keep gripped on. Thank you to our league coordinators and everybody who makes this possible. Thank you to our sponsors, SimSok and Driver61. Go check them out. Their links are in the description below. And thank you to you for watching. And until next time, Vislont Lat Ashra and drive safe.